All right, welcome to Max Downtown. I'm here with Executive Chef Chris Sheehan, and hopefully you have purchased one of our steak packs, the Max Downtown Steak Dinner Package for two. Included in that package, you are going to find two Allen Brothers choice fillets, and we're going to really show you one of the methods that we would do to cook this. And this one's going to be a pan-seared method. You can do it right in your kitchen. The first thing you want to do is have that oven preheated to 350 degrees. And if you have that steak pack, you're going to already have your creamed spinach and your twice baked potato in there. But along with that, so you're going to preheat your oven, and then we're going to season that steak. While we're seasoning the steak, we have the pan heating up. We want a nice medium-high heat on that. If you have a fan or a hood, you're going to want that on because this is going to get a little smoky. So once that pan is nice and heated up, you're going to add a little bit of a light olive oil. We don't use an extra virgin olive oil. When you're dropping that in the pan, try and go away from you, and you see how Chef gave a nice little press down on that just to make sure that it sears nice and evenly. So we should hear that nice sizzling on the steak. That's really what we want. A little bit of smoke coming off of there. Shouldn't be rip-roaring hot. You can always adjust your flame, right? You can turn it up or you can turn it down. Don't worry, I have to tell chefs that all the time. That's what that knob's there for. Turn the flame up, turn the flame down. So, probably a common mistake I find is that people really move that steak around over and over, and they're moving it, and that's not going to help the sear. Really want to just stay in there and get that nice crust on there. Now with your steak pack, you got some kosher salt and a nice, what we call a butcher's grind pepper, which is a really coarse ground pepper. And we want to liberally season the steak, but you can put as much as you want or as little. If you like it a little spicier, add a little more pepper. If you're watching your salt intake, you can omit the salt. You can also finish the steak with a little bit of sea salt as well as a nice little touch. So we're really getting that sear on there, probably going about a minute to a minute and 20 seconds on one side. And then what Chef's going to do is he's going to flip that over and put it in the oven to finish it. So in your oven, we have it in there at 350 degrees because we have our creamed spinach, our twice baked potatoes going. So how long do you think for these steaks, Chef?
Depending on your desired cooking temperature, 4 minutes for rare, 6 to 7 minutes for mid-rare, 8 to 10 minutes for medium. You can always just give your steak a little bit of touch. Everyone's cooked a steak, I believe. Otherwise, this would not be something you'd be purchasing. So you're comfortable with this. So just trust yourself, and you can always put it back in the oven. So my recommendation is cook it a little less than you think it's going to carry overcook a little bit. And yeah.
So for well done, how long would we want to do that?
So for well done, my trick for well done is you want to do 2 cooking installments. So you're going to pull this out of the oven after about 10 minutes and let it rest. And that's going to kind of let the steak carry through and bring that internal temperature so you don't end up with like a charred, hard cooked outside steak and the inside is dry and mealy. There's such thing, I think, as a really good, well done, juicy steak. It doesn't have to be overcooked. So take it out of the oven after 10-12 minutes, let it rest for 5 minutes, and then put it back in the oven for another couple minutes, and that should give you a nice, perfect, juicy, well done cut of beef.
Nice, thanks, Chef. So I think another trick we're going to do is when that comes out of the oven, we're going to baste the steak a little bit, just with a little bit of butter, which gives that nice richness, and it's also going to help put a little more char on the steak. It's a good trick that we use in the restaurant, and we'll kind of show you how to do that right now. Just be careful when you're taking that out of the oven, obviously.
As far as cookware, you want to use your your heaviest duty, if you have cast iron, that's where you're going to go with. Something that's really going to retain your heat. If all you have is a stainless steel or aluminum pan, that's fine. Just make sure that you're getting that nice and hot. So we're over, a medium flame here. If you have an electric stove, you want a medium-high heat. So we're going to take the butter, remove it from the flame, just kind of let it melt and sit in there for a second. And then we angle the pan back towards us. And then just gently ladle your butter back over the steak. You don't want to get too crazy with this. You don't want to get hot butter on you and cause yourself a burn. Just go nice and slow. You can do this for 2-3 minutes. If you like rosemary and thyme or garlic, this is a point where if that's something you enjoy, you can add a little bit of that into the pan and get the flavor from those herbs and garlic onto your steak.
Well done, Chef. Looks great. So the steaks, when we say the steak is done, what do we want to do next?
I think we want to let it sit a couple minutes.
Right, really important.
Don't just go ahead and cut into that steak. There's still a lot of heat on the top and the sides and the bottom that's going to carry through and make your steak retain its juice. If you go ahead and cut right into it, you're just going to have a bunch of blood leaked all over your plate. But you want to retain that juicy steak consistency, flavor.
Yeah, so that muscle gets really, really tight when you're cooking it at a high heat. And once we let it sit, really it just, all the blood redistributes through the steak. So there we go. Max Downtown Steak 101. Thanks.